How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another Bitcoin update. Now, as you see by the title, there is a dump warning, and we will dive into Bitcoin dominance very soon. But let's start with Bitcoin USD. In the last update, I gave you this new area of support that's in alignment with our other area of support as well. So the main one is 100 to 104.6k. That's the macro golden pocket. As I zoom out, it's taking into account pretty much the entirety of this year, and it's basically saying Bitcoin flips macro bullish and will remain bullish, expecting new all-time highs while it's above 100. If I had to get rid of this, 100 to 104.6k. But over the last week, we saw a dump begin from an expected resistance point, and so now we can get even like more accurate support levels. So there will be more added. We don't know exactly which one it's going to bounce off of. We're looking for the reactions. Now, in the previous update, we spoke about this wick down here, and although we were suggesting the close had to be above 104.6k, which it was, the lowest point of the day in which the bull stepped in from is that wick down at 102.7k. So you can go ahead and mark that on your chart. Bitcoin just needs to find support above that point. And I think that in yesterday's video, we came to the conclusion that with multiple confluences down in this area, the micro 786, the 55 daily EMA, and this previous higher low, that this is the area Bitcoin can't lose. So what is it going to do right now in the immediate short term? It's going to go ahead and try and get down there to test to see if the bulls will protect it. Failure to do so, the bears take power and will attempt to push it once again down to 100k. Keep in mind that once we get down here, first of all, we need a daily candle close beneath 104.6k, and that will initiate the move further down. I'm going to get rid of those fibs and this box. We know that it's this pretty much this low over here, and it needs to maintain above. And while holding 104.6k with daily candle closes as it currently is, that's what's stopping its move down into there. But we can see over the last couple of days, failures to break out. If you remember a few days ago, we had a video projecting this entire move up, and it hit my target exactly. We called the bottom exactly as well there. Unfortunately, it didn't sustain through this red box, because by doing so, we actually target 121k. That's the target out of this bullish inverse head and shoulders pattern. Or you can look at it as a cup here and a handle, but it's the same thing. You just include this as a left shoulder, and a cup and handle quickly changes into an inverse head and shoulder. They're the exact same thing. Also a double bottom, isn't it? One bottom, neckline, second bottom down over here. So just need to maintain above 100k and it should reverse. But as we know, there's a lot of pressure on Bitcoin to sustain these areas, otherwise altcoins are going to get dragged down. Now we're over on the Bitcoin dominance chart on the weekly time frame, and we can see that it's actually breaking out. Now we need, well, not me personally, but for altcoin holders, they need to see this dumping down for altcoins to outperform Bitcoin. We've spent months in this area, so all the way back in February here, and it set this as the top. It looked like it was going to continue lower, but Bitcoin dominance maintained the trend. It didn't even have such an effect like this over here, where it lost a lot of the moving averages, came back into the 55-day weekly, and now it could have pumped into there as resistance to continue even lower. So on this dump, once we got into that moment once again, into that point once again, you can see it wasn't a deep dump. So it's just maintaining the trend. It wants to keep breaking out bullish on the weekly time frame. Extreme consequences. One candle is a week. You know, look at this area here. We spent months, just a couple months, just going back up pretty much to where we were, and we spent the whole year here. So it's looking like it's finally breaking out, and the target would be the next Fibonacci. On the daily time frame, you can actually see this a little bit clearer. Now, one thing I can say is that where we are currently, 65% exactly is the 886 fib. So the little glimmer of hope is that exactly from here, Bitcoin turns around, flips bullish on the USD chart, and then altcoins follow, which would then, of course, for altcoin holders, hope that this would start dropping off from here, because altcoins will, of course, outperform Bitcoin in an altcoin season. But majority of the time, as you have seen here for years now, we've been in Bitcoin season and we're still not seeing those characteristic changes to enter an alt season. This was the last time there was a possibility of a sustained long-term altcoin season. But when we came in for the lower high, although it was confirmed lower than the previous, we need to see the follow through in this new trend. So I would need to see Bitcoin dominance putting in a lower low beneath this point. And we can see it created a high low and broke that high, made a new high, maintaining the trend. And that's what could be happening here. There is the possibility of going down from here. But the moment it breaks through this high, price discovery mode, well, it's just going to keep traveling higher and higher. It's not price discovery mode because we have been there in the past before, but it's just going to keep pumping it until it reaches 68% pretty much. So worrying signs, because of course by breaking out on the Bitcoin dominance, that means Bitcoin is going to take more dominance. The situation where that happens is most likely when the market as a whole is dumping, and it's because of Bitcoin's stability that it will maintain its value a lot better than the altcoins. And in turn, by holding the altcoins in that period, you're going to be missing out on Bitcoin. You're going to be losing Bitcoin value. And that is why you're going to see the Bitcoin dominance chart continue to break out. So whether you're in altcoins or not, it's all dependent on Bitcoin. Check out the Bitcoin dollar chart and the Bitcoin dominance charts. Keep your eyes peeled on the 65% level here. And on the Bitcoin USD chart, we need that reversal to happen from here because we're at 65%. So that means while sitting on the macro 886 now as support, it kind of needs to reverse from here. But with what the moving averages are suggesting, with this failure to recover them the last day, it resulted in a fake out. So this is just suggesting that, just like previously, there was a move up into the moving averages, maintained. In fact, if you break down this candle, it was above and then fell back under, just like this situation here, and it went into new lows. That could mean losing 104.6k and testing these lows here, the last previous low, the current high low at 102.7k. Ultimately, we don't want to lose 100k. That is when we break down out of this range. While above 100k, we should actually find support, whether it's here exactly or one more level lower at the 55 daily. We then need to recover. Let me draw it out now. So if we were to continue down into here, we need to then recover this level. The risk is that it's used as a resistance to head down lower, but we now need to see the bull stepping in, recovering this level, and that would initiate another move back up. With the risk, once again, it could get rejected there and go low. Of course, I'm going to continue warning you until we break through this red box. However, once that 109 to 100 and let's just round it up to 111k, once that's broken, flipped in support, I have my eyes set on 120k, and that's a new all-time high. Bitcoin would be in price discovery mode. No arguments for an altcoin season at that point, but we're not currently above that level. And so until that moment, we're going to be in Bitcoin season, and Bitcoin on the dominant side, looking very likely that it's going to break out higher. And unfortunately, that could mean we see a market-wide crash or dump, or however you want to call it. Guys, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. It does bump up the algorithm. We're almost at 10k subs, so I really appreciate it. If you want to get education, use the links down below. I've got 20% off discount that remains until Monday, whether it's for the ebook, 1 year long membership, or one-to-one mentorship plans.